Hi everyone and welcome to Fresh from My Garden. In a previous video where I was sharing updates of flowering bulbs, I had shown that our Amaryllis lily was starting to send out flower spikes and it was getting ready to bloom. So here you can see that they have started to bloom, and this will take probably another day or two for it to bloom completely. But as this is starting to dry out and die back, I wanted to share an update of this and also how I grow this from bulbs. So I had shared previously in a live video that most of my family members, they are all into gardening and they do different kinds of gardening. So my parents, they love both ornamental plants, and also my dad does a lot of vegetable gardening and growing fruits in his garden. My grandmother has a lot of ornamental plants, and also my mother-in-law has a lot of flowering plants, and she also does a lot of vegetable gardening on her terrace. So this is from a bulb from their garden. So every time I visit my hometown, I have some plant or the other which I take cuttings of, or I grab some seeds of which I can grow in my garden. And I had been looking for these amaryllis plants for a long time in nurseries, and I couldn't find these plants. So they were not in season at that time probably. So when I went to my hometown, and both my mother-in-law and my parents' garden has different colors of these amaryllis bulbs in their gardens. So they are all growing in containers like these, and they had the container filled with a lot of bulbs. So when there were a lot of bulbs, I harvested a couple of bulbs so that I could grow them in my garden. And they're pretty easy to grow, and more rewarding than growing from seeds is what I have learned from my journey in gardening. A lot of flowers that we grow from seeds, after the end of the season, these plants go to seed, and if we don't get an opportunity to save those seeds, then we have to buy seeds all over again to plant them in our garden. But with flowering bulbs, these bulbs multiply over the years, and they give us a bigger or a better bloom as the years go by. So that is something that I have enjoyed with flowering bulbs. And the first flower that I grew from bulbs was Gladiolus. And I was really happy to see the beautiful flowers of Gladiolus that grow in our garden. And with Amaryllis and also with Gladiolus, I had planted them in a part of my garden which doesn't receive too much of sunlight. So the front garden, we get only afternoon sunlight, because during the morning it's mostly shade. So because we have a front garden that is west facing, most of the sunlight is during the late afternoon or during the evenings. And we also have some crotons and palms at the edge of our garden, so it's mostly filtered sunlight for a lot of plants in our front garden. But in spite of that, they have been blooming really well and giving us so many beautiful blooms, and also multiplying over the years. So Gladiolus is something that I grew from bulbs, and they have multiplied a lot in the last 3 years. This is something that I brought from my parents' garden a year back, and this has bloomed really well. And I had also shared a time lapse of another amaryllis flower that is pink with white stripes, and that had also beautifully bloomed, and it was very nice. It bloomed for more than 2-3 times over the last couple of years. So this is something that I wanted to share, because with flowering bulbs we get a beautiful and a better show of flowers in our garden when compared to seeds. But I still continue to grow from seeds. I have planted a lot of flowering seeds in our garden, and some of them are doing well even now. So even with low light or filtered sunlight, we can grow these kind of flowering bulbs, and once all of these bloom, they will look really nice and very showy in the garden. So I hope you liked today's video from my garden and these beautiful flowers that are blooming. and as the other flowering bulbs bloom in our garden, I will share more updates. So thanks for watching, and please do subscribe and continue to support us. Thank you.